A roadway was planned in 1999 to connect Western Ireland in a straight line. Construction began on a wet, windy fall day to join the M18 from Limerick to Galway. They mixed their cement and they poured their asphalt, but then their construction was ground to a halt. All progress was stopped midway through County Clare, and all for the sake of a tree growing there.
What lives in that tree, and why was it saved when so many others were bulldozed and paved? From Ireland to Kyoto, Zimbabwe to Greece, in tales of Anansi or Jason's gold fleece. Trees that are magic or sacred abound. They're spoken of everywhere people are found. But what are these trees, and how can you tell what types of beings inside them might dwell?
Which tree has a deva that lives in its hollow? Which one is a lady that hard passed Apollo? What inspired the Ents or the wicked Cathay? Are leshies as bad as the Witcher games say?
You'll find magical trees everywhere that you go, so here are some tree folk and spirits to know.
There are plenty to cover, so it might be best if we start with Japan and then work our way west. In Shinto philosophy, all things have a kami, a spirit, whether it be a mouse or tsunami. Each teacup, each pebble, each mobile device. There are 1 million spirits in each grain of rice. The spirits of new things aren't clever or bold, but gain wisdom and strength as they start to grow old. After a century, or as they get near it, the kami grows into a powerful spirit. And what thing is older, has more expertise than the Kodama spirits, the spirits of trees?
Kodamas, the spirits of trees that survive as generations of humans depart and arrive. They can take human form, ancient, withered, and gray. So be kind to the old folks.
I mean, you should anyway.
But to harm a Kodama is a disastrous decision. That's why Shimenawa rope is tied with precision.
Now, as we continue our journey to the west, in Chinese folklore, peach trees are blessed, at least the ones found in the Jiwangmu Palace. That's where the mighty Jade Emperor shields them from malice.
Until the great Monkey King, the famed Sun Wukong, was tasked to protect them, and ate most before long.
There are similar tales of gods needing fruit, and the fruit being stolen in a wild pursuit. In tales from China to ancient Norway, where the apples of Idun were stolen away.
Let's not jump ahead in our sylvan sojourn. There are still more Asian trees that we have to learn. In South Asia, the kalpavriksha are seen. They look like most other trees, healthy and green. A night-blooming jasmine that grows in a canyon, a leafy mahua or an Indian banyan. Hindus, Jainists, Buddhists, faiths such as these, all have sacred beliefs of these magical trees. On some things they agree, on others they're at odds. Some say they grant wishes, others say they house gods.
Explore Madagascar or the African plain, and we're sure in your memory one tree will remain. It's massive, unique. It's like something of Seuss's. Its fruit and its bark provide all sorts of uses. In comparison, each other tree is a shrub. This wondrous tree is called the Baobab.
No. Stop this. Sorry to break up the rhyme scheme, but I must insist upon interjecting here. Technically, the baobab isn't a tree. It's a succulent like aloe or cacti, just grown to massive proportions.
This is folklore, not science, as you already know. It's a big barky plant, so cool story, bro.
Humph. This tree has a 3,000-year-long lifespan.
That's one heck of a kami if it grew in Japan.
Now, some trees are sacred, as we've already seen, and we'll get to some who are evil or mean. There's the wise English oak, the mysterious pine.
But then there's the baobab, who just likes to whine. Many African peoples, like the Shona in the south, say that this tree once had too big a mouth. All this tree did was shout and complain, too hot in the sun, too cold in the rain. The creator, Mawari, heard it being a jerk, ungrateful for all of his hard divine work. So he picked up the tree, shoved its head in the ground, and that's why the Baobab looks so upside down.
Now, across the wide world of folklore and myth, it's dryads whom you might be most familiar with. The dryads, the classical lady tree folk, eventually all trees, but originally oak.
A beautiful spirit of an ancient Greek tree. One in some versions is Eurydice. She's the dryad that Orpheus failed to save on his honeymoon quest to free her from the grave. To a magical tree, each dryad was tied. If one was destroyed, then the other one died. The dryads were trees, but they had comrades, like the spirits of rivers, known as the wet-ads.
There are also some mortals who turned into trees, such as in Ovid's Metamorphoses. One woman was Daphne, stalked by Apollo, whose grasp of consent was, let's just say, hollow. So across olive groves, across pastures of sheep, she ran to escape this Olympian creep. And when she collapsed from her cross-country sprint, she turned to a laurel tree. Dude, take a hint.
But let's not pretend that all trees are good. You must be alert when you enter the wood. Fantasy speaks of some terrible trees. Old Man Willow from Tolkien, and Oz gave us these. Pat Rothfuss invented the nightmarish Kthay. Even Narnian trees can be morally grey. But darkest of all, across folklore and myth, are the Slavic protectors you dare not with. The Leshy, a being who wanders the dark, tall as a pine with skin made of bark, leafy and hairy and often with horns. The Leshy appears in all manner of forms. He punishes the fools disrespecting the wild, the rich or the poor, the grown-up or child. So if you go into an old Slavic wood, ask permission to enter, behave as you should. Leave no trace and don't litter. Don't bring your wood axe. You don't want to anger this kaiju Lorax.
Moving on from the folklore of old Slavic tales, the sorcerous fellow is Gwydion of Wales, a powerful mage and a tricksy deceiver. His name means tree-born, or maybe tree-weaver.
A manipulative wizard with great magic powers. He made armies from trees and a woman from flowers.
See, his nephew was cursed to have no human wife, so Gwydion wove him a partner for life. He made her from flowers, Blodeuwedd her name, but Gwydion has far more arboreal fame.
In a terrible battle, the Welsh were beset, outnumbered and weak, but they weren't finished yet. Gwydion sang to the trees of the lands. They stretched and awaited his battle commands.
The heather, as if charmed, entangled and ensnared the feet of men. Oaks struck fear in all those who beheld them, thundering through the enemy while bluebells made racket, pealing alarms where there might be incursions in the defense. Stealthy pear trees, in turn, made skillful advances through the weaknesses of their enemies, marking targets for the wrathful chestnuts that darkened the skies, bearing down upon their marks. The alders thrust forth, first in line, alert and striving, followed by the willows and quicken rowans, an intensity of whipping branches just behind, while at the center, yews, like gods of war, ranged with pines at close attention. Even the raspberries cast aside their sweet nature, donning thorns and patching defenses along with privet, woodbine, and ivy. Ash stood at core, but mighty and exalted, and elms ranged like traveling kings, refusing to leave the action, reluctant to be seen giving anything but their all. Which returns us, dear viewer, to this hawthorn in Clare. So what's the big deal? It's just sitting there. Well, in '99, while out for a walk, folklorist Eddie Lenehan stopped for a talk. A crew was constructing a new motorway through a field that the folklorist knew to be fey.
See, this was the place, according to lore, where fairies would gather when they went to war. The fairies of Munster, that's the Irish Southwest, would meet at this tree in their militant best. With fey weapons of war, in fey armor were clad, when the feo-political climate went bad.
Lenehan warned till he ran out of breath that to cut down this tree would bring peril and death. Work ground to a halt, and it halted its ground till the minds of the engineers soon came around. They never said why, but they left the tree growing. Did it save them from doom? There's no way of knowing. But the hawthorn was saved, and it still grows today. The Irish Bar Council had this to say.
With a membership of more than 2,300 barristers, the Bar Council had difficulty getting consensus as to the existence of fairies, but we fully support their right of access to justice. Unless we're lying.
In all the old tales, it's wise to make friends. Helping out someone small always pays dividends.
A broken-winged bird, an innocent toad, that old vagabond by the side of the road.
We Pooka are tricksters, ancient and wise. We've got eons of knowledge to offer you guys.
If you need fairy wisdom, then we're your solution. But digitizing that wisdom, that takes contribution.
Now this is the part where we plug Patreon. But just wait a second, don't skip, just hold on.
We need your help. If you like the show's vibe and you want to see more, click that link and subscribe.
Prove you're a real mythology lover.
Vote on what topics you want us to cover.
Paid members get shoutouts in one of our shows. Please make that part harder as our channel grows.
Our patrons rule as our fandom's apexes, and this month we've got two lovely Alexes, Alexandra H and Alexander N. We love your support, so thank you again.
If this was a video that you enjoyed,
And click on subscribe. Keep a Pooka employed.
He's a Pooka.
A Pooka? Is that something new?
No, as I understand it, that's something very old.
You don't know about Pooka? Why, that is insane!
Watch our first video where we explain.